Okay, spring is here, which is really nice, and we've got another unseasonably warm day today, which is I'm grateful for. All right, so why don't you come right up to the front edge of your chair and have your feet right underneath your knees, and notice where your shoulders are in space. So are you leaning forward a little bit? Are you kind of leaning to one side? See if you can get your shoulders kind of right above your hips. And when you get your shoulders above your hips, now pay attention to what's happening in your neck. So a lot of us, we kind of, I'm going to stand sideways so you can see. A lot of us, we kind of sit like this, so you can see my shoulders are coming forward a little bit, and that means my chin needs to lift, because if my shoulders came forward, my head would be like this, and I'd be looking at the floor. So I kind of make this adjustment, and now I have this shortness in the back of my neck, and that's going to set us up for some issues in the neck there. So I'm going to ask you to just get your head above your shoulders. So your shoulders are above your hips, and your head is right on top of your shoulders. If your chin is up, pull it down a little bit. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And just start to notice your breath. Notice the way air is moving in and out of your body. Can you breathe in and out through your nose? If you're having difficulty breathing in and out through your nose this morning, see if you can breathe in through your nose and maybe blow out through pursed lips like you're blowing out a candle. And the reason to breathe in through your nose is because you have a lot of little hairs in there, and something called cilia, which are just these little finger-like projections. And they filter all the pollen and all the particulate that's in the air. So we want to have that air nice and clean before it goes into the lungs, so it's best to breathe in through the nose. If you have asthma or COPD, or you have any other breathing issue, breathing out through pursed lips can help you get the carbon dioxide out of your body a little quicker, and that can feel a little more expansive in your lungs, so it can be helpful. So notice if your breath is fast or slow, if it's shallow or deep. And then begin to consciously deepen your breathing. So breathe in as if you could bring the air all the way down to your belly button. And let your belly expand as you inhale. And as you exhale, breathe out the same way, except now you're pulling your belly button in toward your back, so you're activating those belly muscles. So breathing in, the belly gets soft, expands. Breathing out, the belly contracts, and you pull your navel back toward your spine. And with each breath in and out, those breaths get a little longer, a little slower, and a little deeper. And if you want to slow the breath down even more, see if you can create a restriction at the back of your throat. And you'll make the sound, you'll hear the sound of your breath. It sounds sort of like the ocean in your head. And again, if you're someone who's dealing with a breathing problem, whether it's asthma or COPD or some other obstructive breathing issue, you don't want to do that because you're already kind of having a little bit more difficulty getting the air in and out. So this is only if you don't have a breathing problem. As you inhale and exhale, each breath is getting longer, slower, and deeper. The body is relaxing into the breath, so If your shoulders are tight or your hands are kind of gripping your legs, see if you can relax your fingers, relax your hands, your arms, your shoulders. Relax your feet and your legs. And let's take just a few more, pardon me, of these long, slow, deep breaths in and out. It should take a long time to breathe in and a long time to breathe out. And after your next exhalation, you can let go of all of that work with your breath. Just go back to your natural breathing. Just allowing the air to flow in and out, in through the nose, out through the nose if you can, but if it's kind of hard to breathe out through your nose, breathe out through pursed lips. And just notice what you feel like now. So just after a few minutes of doing this long, slow, deep breathing, and let your eyes gently open. Good. Okay. So we're going to start this morning with a little bit of work for the neck and shoulders. So just a show of hands. Anybody having some issues with neck and shoulders? A little bit of neck and shoulders. How about people at home? Neck and shoulder issues at home? Yeah. Okay. So for a lot of us, would develop like a little kink here and there, or you go to turn your head and you notice that you're pretty limited on one side or the other. And I get this question a lot from my massage clients. What can I do to keep my neck kind of from getting in that kinked up position? Very simple movements that we can do to address that. So I thought we'd work with a little bit of that today. So the first thing to do is to take your chin and bring it right down toward your collarbones here. So see if you can get your chin to go right down onto the collarbones. You're going to be restricted a little bit, and then lift up. Okay, so we're just going to do that a few times. So bring your chin right down to the collarbones. It's like you're trying to tuck it. If you feel that little notch right here, like right between your two collarbones, it's like you're trying to tuck your chin right in that little notch, and then we'll lift up. And we're just going to do this while we're breathing. So breathing in and breathing out, nice, slow and steady. Now if you're doing this correctly, bringing the chin down to the collarbones, you should feel like a restriction. When you get your chin down here, it should feel like you're almost closing off your windpipe. It should be a little bit uncomfortable. So breathing in and breathing out. Now if it's a little uncomfortable and it's making you anxious, you don't have to bring your chin quite so far. But if you can, get it down there as close as you can. Now some of us are going to feel this in the back of the neck, the back of the head. You might feel it up into your head, especially if you're one of those people who have tight shoulders, tight neck. Just a couple more of these. Good. Nice easy movement, nice gentle breathing. And last one. See if you can tuck that chin as close to those collarbones as you can. And then relax. Take a moment and swallow a couple of times. So you'll feel that kind of shift a little bit in there. So now we're going to take the right ear and we're going to bring the right ear as close to the top of the shoulder as we can. And then lift. Same thing, we're just going to bring that right ear. Think about the ear going to the shoulder. Try not to lean your whole body, right? So sometimes we lean the whole body over. It's just getting the ear, and it's as close to the top here as possible, right? So try to make that space a little smaller. Just breathing in, breathing out. And one more time. Good. And then same thing on the other side. So take your left ear, get it as close to your shoulder as you can, and then slowly lift your head up. Real gentle, slow movements. And you might notice that it's easier on one side than the other. Pretty normal to have that happen. And just a couple more of these. Looks good, you guys. And last one. Okay, and then back. And now what we're going to do is just turn the head to the right as far as it'll go. Turn just your head, not your whole body. And then come back to center. We're going to go right over to the left side. So we're just going to go from side to side a couple of times, nice and slow. Let your breath be smooth and even and round. So you're relaxing into the movement. And just a couple more of these. And how about last time on each side? Once to the left, once to the right. And then back to center. Okay, so we're going to do a couple more movements. But before we do, I want to address one thing, because somebody just asked me this last week about doing neck rolls. Do you know what neck rolls are, where you take your head and you kind of roll it around? I don't think that's a good thing to do, quite frankly, because when you do neck rolling, there can be a tendency to get a little too close in some of those vertebrae, and you could pinch a little nerve, or you could do a little bit of an adjustment in there, which you don't want to do. So to me, it's a better option to do these discrete movements. You know, bringing the chin to the chest, bringing the ear to the shoulder, turning the head like this. This is a discrete movement that exercises all of the available movement in your vertebrae without potentially compromising it. So I always like to think about lengthening before we do any kind of turning. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the right ear to the right shoulder again, and we're going to hang out here for a while. So relax your left shoulder a little bit. Relax the left side of your head, and take your right arm, reach it out to the side, bring it all the way up, and place your hand close to your left ear. Relax your right arm, so the weight of your arm is actually pulling your head over a little bit. You're not yanking on your head, but your arm, the weight of the arm is giving a little bit of traction here. So you might feel that your ear is maybe a little bit closer to your shoulder when you do this. And now as you hold your hand on your head, engage the muscles here on the left side of your neck, like you're trying to do this, like you're trying to lift your head up, but your hand is preventing that from happening. So push your head into your hand, but resist your head with your hand, and breathe. And now relax your neck muscles here on the left, relax your arm, and let that ear get a little closer to the shoulder. Again, you're not pulling your head, you're just using the weight of your arm. And we're going to do that engagement of the muscles one more time. So engage these muscles on the left side, like you're trying to push your head into your hand, and resist that with your hand. Keep pushing and breathing. Keep pushing like you're trying so hard to lift your head up. And then relax all of the trying. Just let your neck relax and see if that ear comes closer to the shoulder. Keep your hand there. Don't lift your head quite yet. We're still in that stretch mode. Breathing in, breathing out. Okay, now release your hand from your head, but don't lift your head quite yet. We're going to let the hand come down to the lap. Let's take a couple of breaths in and out as we take this left hand off the lap. Let it hang down toward the side. Take your right hand over to your left shoulder top and pull that shoulder down. So you're trying to pull the shoulder down. Keep your right ear on your right shoulder. There's a lot to this. Keep breathing. Keep pulling that shoulder down. Two more breaths. Great. And then relax and release your hands. Let them rest on your lap. And really slowly now raise your head. And once your head gets back up to center, notice if the left side of your neck feels significantly longer than the right side of your neck. You might do this with your eyes closed or open. For me, when I close my eyes, I get a better sense of what's going on inside my body. So with my eyes closed, I can really feel how much longer this left side is than the right side. So let's breathe into that a couple more times. And let your eyes drift open. Take your left ear now. Just bring it over to that left shoulder. We're just going to hang out here for a minute. Usually takes a minute for the right side of the neck and the shoulder to relax, because initially that side of the neck is kind of holding on, because it's like, I don't know how far we're going to go here, so let's just hold on. So once you feel the right side of your neck and your right shoulder a little more relaxed, then take your left arm, reach it out and around, place your hand on your head near your right ear. Okay, and then relax your left arm and let the weight of the arm just give a traction. So again, you're not pulling down with your hand, you're just letting the weight of the arm provide a little bit of traction here. Breathing in and breathing out. Smooth, round, steady breath. And then we're going to do that engagement of the muscles here on this side of the neck. As you do that, it's like you're pushing your head, you're trying to lift your head like that. You're pushing your head into your hand, but you're resisting with your hand, right? So push the head as hard as you can into your hand, but don't let your head move. Keep breathing. That's the most important thing, is to keep breathing. And now relax all of that effort, so the arm just is heavy a little bit. See if that left ear can get a little closer to the left shoulder. Notice what's happening in the right side of the neck, the shoulder, maybe even into the arm. I didn't mention that on the other side, but some of you might be feeling it in your arm. And then one more time, we're going to engage the muscles in the side of the neck, like you're trying to lift your head. Press your head into your hand and resist that pressing with your hand. Keep breathing. We're lengthening those muscles a little bit in there. And these are little tiny muscles that we're lengthening. Breathing in, breathing out. And now relax everything. That's good. Good. Keep the head where it is. Don't lift quite yet. We're going to take the hand off of the head. Let it come down so your ear is still on your shoulder. Take your right arm, hang it off the side of the chair or off your lap. And then we're going to take the left hand, bring it up to that right shoulder and pull down. So it's like you're pulling that shoulder down and forward. Keep breathing in, breathing out. This is one of my favorite stretches right here. You get your hand like up over the big muscle up here on the top of the shoulder. That's your trapezius muscle. And you pull that trapezius muscle down. You're actually working and stretching muscles in your upper back, which is really helpful. One more breath in and out. Good, and then release your hand. Let both hands come to your lap, and really slowly now raise your head back up. And if it's comfortable, close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in and breathe out, and notice what you feel on the left side and right side of your neck. Left and right shoulders, left and right arms. Great. Allow your eyes to open. How are we doing? Everybody doing okay? Yeah? Okay, good. So we're going to do another little movement here again, thinking about movement for the neck as being discrete. We're going to lengthen through the spine a little bit here, and then we're going to take the head and we're going to turn and look up to the right. Look up like you're looking up at the stars. And then as you're breathing in and out, we're going to go in a diagonal fashion. We're going to look down and to the left. Like you're looking down at the ground. Kind of look over your shoulder a little bit, over your left shoulder. So breathe in, breathe out. Let's look up and to the right. And down and to the left. And see if you can make this movement with just your head. So in other words, try not to do this like twisting your body or bending in this way. It's just your head that's moving. So we're really asking all those neck muscles to do a little bit more work. So you're up and to the right and down to the left. Two more times. Up to the right and down to the left. Last time we're going to go up to the right and down to the left, And then come back to that neutral position right in the middle. Pause here for a moment. You can close your eyes. That can feel really good to just kind of check in. Breathe in, breathe out, and notice what you feel. Notice what you're aware of. Not just in your neck and your shoulders now, but maybe, because we've been turning the head in that way, maybe your eyes. Maybe as you looked up, you were moving the eyes a little bit. Let your eyes gently open if they've been closed, and now we're going to do things in a diagonal in the opposite way. So turn your head and look up to the left, and then turn and look down to the right. And keep breathing as you move gently up and to the left and down to the right. Now, as you're doing this, you might ask yourself, was it easier on the other side? Or is it easier on this side? Do I feel a difference in my back and my shoulders? And what about the breath? Is it easier to breathe, or is it a little more challenging to breathe when doing these kinds of movements? And just a couple more. Great. How about one more? Up and down. Breathing in, breathing out. And then coming back to center. Okay, relax your body, close your eyes for a moment, breathe in, breathe out. And notice. Let your eyes open. So everybody's still doing okay? Okay, good. So I have one more for you to do. And again, these are just, if you tend to suffer from tight neck, tight shoulders, just doing these few exercises can make a huge difference. So this last one is kind of interesting because we're going to employ the tongue. The tongue is actually a muscle. And it's not just a muscle in your mouth, it's actually a muscle down into your neck as well. So we're going to use the tongue to actually get a little bit more range of movement. Now I'm just going to unloop one side so you guys can see what we're doing, because this is hard to teach if I'm in a mask. So I hope this is okay. I'm right up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the tongue and push it into one cheek. So when we go to the right, I'll show you, and then we'll do it together. So I'm going to take my tongue. See how I'm pushing it into my cheek as hard as I can. I'm going to push the tongue into the cheek, and as I'm pushing my tongue into the cheek, now you can't hear me, right? So as I'm pushing my tongue into the cheek, I'm going to turn my head in that direction so it looks like this. I know that looks really goofy, you guys, but you all are in masks, so I can't see you. Zoom people, I won't look. So I'm going to put my mask back on, and that's what we're going to do, one side and then the other, okay? All right. Here we go. Okay. All right. So take your tongue, push it into your right cheek as hard as you can. Push into the cheek. And it's going to feel a little challenging for a lot of us. Now, as you're pushing your tongue into your cheek, turn your head as far to the right as it'll go. Try not to turn your body, just your head. Keep pushing the tongue as hard as you can into your cheek. And then relax your tongue and slowly bring your head back to center. Take a moment, just notice what that right cheek feels like, right? It should feel like this big at this point. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So take your tongue, push it into your cheek as hard as you can on the left, and turn your head to the left as far as it'll go. Keep pushing your tongue into your cheek. Keep turning your head. Keep breathing. That's the most important thing. And then slowly come back to center, relaxing your tongue. Taking a moment once again just to notice and feel. We're going to do that one more time on each side, because usually the second time we get a little different feeling here. So take your tongue, push it as hard as you can into the right, and turn your head to the right. Now some of us are feeling it in the ear, some of us are feeling it in the cheek, some of us are feeling it in the neck. Lots of different places you might be feeling this. Keep breathing, you guys. And then slowly relax your tongue and slowly bring your head back to center. Going to go right into that left side. Push your push your tongue into your left cheek. And turn. And keep pushing and keep breathing. And slowly unwind as you relax the tongue from that cheek. Good. Close your eyes for a moment. Let's take a couple of breaths in and out and notice. And let your eyes gently open. What are you noticing in your neck right now, in your shoulders? Anybody noticing anything in particular? Feels good? Feels a little looser maybe? Yeah? When you turn your head, do you feel like you have a little more range of motion? Yeah, just a little bit more can make a big difference in how much you're able to function with ease in your daily life. And so, again, I think this is one of those nice little exercises you can do before you get out of bed in the morning. Just kind of sit before you get up and just do a few of those. Because sometimes, I don't know about you all, but for me, when I wake up, sometimes I'm a little bit stiff. It takes me a few minutes to kind of, for the oil to get moving in the body. All right, so let's get a little bit of work into the arms and shoulders here as well. Since we started with the neck and the tops of the shoulders, we're going to keep going with the shoulders as we roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down, breathing in and breathing out. Now, as you're doing this, we're going to get bigger and bigger circles as we go around. Now, you might be going backwards, you might be going forward, doesn't matter. We're going to switch direction, so don't feel like you have to go one way or the other. Get those elbows up there as high as you can. Now, for some people, there might be some limitation in the movement in the shoulder. Just go with that, whatever that is for you today. Great. And then at some point, when the arms are down, this is a good time. When the arms are down like this, is a good time to switch direction. We're going to go the other way. So if you switch direction when your arms are up, you have little tendons up here in the top part of the shoulder. Has everybody heard of their rotator cuff? Yeah, especially people who've had an injury, right? You know where your rotator cuff is. So when we switch direction, if the elbows and arms are down, we're protecting that rotator cuff a little bit. And the rotator cuff is basically just a little group of tendons that come up and they can get pinched underneath that bone. Okay, let's see if we can get the arms extended as we come up and around. Whew. Breathe in, breathe out. And again, we're going to go in the other direction too, so don't worry. We're going to get full range of movement here, breathing in, breathing out, doing the best you can. If you're working with a shoulder injury or a shoulder issue, just raise your arm as high as you can. Next time your arms are down, that's when we're going to switch. So go back the other way. And you can turn your palms. I find that when I turn my palms around, I get a different feeling in my arms. Now I'm working the muscles in my arms as well as my shoulders. So it's like a 2-for-1, which who doesn't want that, right? If you're going to spend the time doing an exercise, you might as well get the best out of it. Okay. Next time your arms come down, we're going to pause here, and we're going to make it a little more fun. So take your right arm, and we're going to sweep it up and forward and around. Okay? So it's like a one-arm, just a one-arm thing. Okay. As you're sweeping your right arm forward, up, and around, take your left arm and sweep it backwards. Got to think about that one, right? Yeah, because some of you are doing this. You're going in the same direction. But what we're doing is right arm going forward and left arm going backward. It's weird, for sure. You might notice that you're holding your breath, right? Anytime we try something new, do anybody notice that? I know I hold my breath as soon as I try something new. Okay. Everybody looks like they're doing a great job with this, so we're going to switch it up. So let your arms come down by your sides. Take a breath. Good. Now let's take that left arm and go forward with it. Just the left arm. So we're going forward, right? Sweeping forward. Forward, forward. That means the palm comes up and forward. Yeah, there you go. That's forward. Okay, so as you're going forward with the left, can you take the right and go backwards? Oof. Wow. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice how hard you have to concentrate to do this. This is like chewing gum and not chewing gum, patting your head and rubbing your belly, right? Was that the thing we used to do, everybody used to do when they were kids? Something like that. Okay, how about just one more time? And are you breathing? And if you're not, why don't you start now? Okay. And then let the arms come down to your lap. Whew. Take a moment and notice how hard that was. Right? Yeah, that was really challenging. And I don't know about, did anybody notice that it was easier to do that syncopate, that reverse rhythm on one side? Like when your right arm was going forward, it was easy to do the left, but when you switched, it was like all kind of confusing. Yeah, right? Yeah, so certain things, and I'll say this, your dominant side, so if you happen to be right-handed, you tend to have more dexterity in your dominant side. So your dominant side knows how to open the front door, knows how to turn on the controls in your car, when you're working your oven or whatever. Your right, if you're right hand dominant, that hand is going to understand how to do those tasks better than your non-dominant hand. So it's just something to notice about yourself. All right. So now we're going to do a little bit of work for the spine. So if you bring your feet a little bit wider than your hips, we're going to drop the chin to the chest, just like we did before, but we're going to keep going now. We're going to bring the forehead down toward the floor. So you're kind of rounding through your upper back like a shrimp. You're making like a shrimp shape, and then slowly come all the way up. And again, so we're just bringing the chin down and kind of come forward like you're trying to bring your forehead to the floor right between your feet, and then slowly coming up. We'll do this just a few more times. So this should be a nice, easy movement. If you're having pain or discomfort here, I don't want you to come forward, okay? So you can do this, and I'll demonstrate. You can do this simply by rounding your spine here. You don't actually have to come forward. If you're okay with that, just come as far forward as you can. You want to keep your head above your hips, though. So if you're a super flexible person, you could get your forehead like down between your knees. Don't go quite that far. Breathing in and breathing out. I don't know if I said that, but that is critical here. Just one more time, coming forward and up. Beautiful. Okay. So that was a little bit of forward flexion for your spine. We're going to do a little bit of side to side. Now, just like we brought the ear to the shoulder when we were working the neck, let's do that again on the right side. And now bring your shoulder as close to your hip as you can go. As you bring your shoulder as close to your hip as you can go, just keep that left sitting bone on the chair. We don't want to tip off the chair. Come down as far as you can, as far as you can, and then slowly come all the way up. All right? Same thing on that left side. So ear to the shoulder, and now get the shoulder as close to the hip as you can. For me, if I slide my elbow in a little bit, it gives me a little more space on that side of my body so I can get down there and then come up. So we're just going to do this a few times. Really slowly. If this makes you feel a little dizzy or a little uncomfortable, just don't come as far over, okay? Breathe in and breathe out. Again, that's the most important thing, is to keep the breath moving. It's nice and steady. And one more time. Once on each side, that is. Great. Last time over here. Very nice. Okay, excellent. So now we've taken that stretching sensation that we did in the neck and we moved it all the way down into the hip. So can we take the right leg now and cross it over the left? Can you go knee on top of knee? If you can't get the knee on top of the knee, ankle on top of ankle is fine. We're just using this as an anchor point to twist, that's all. So we're going to take the left hand, place it on the outside of your right knee. Take your right hand, bring it to the chair behind you. Sit up nice and tall. And now we're going to twist to the right. We're going to start with the head. So turn your head, your neck, your shoulders, your upper back, mid back, and then all the way around to your low back. Keep twisting here. Keep going around as far as you can. Like you try to look at the person behind you. Breathe in, breathe out. And then we're going to slowly unwind. Come all the way back. Keep the spine nice and tall. Let's uncross and cross the other way. Take the right hand to the outside of the left knee. Take the left hand to the back of the chair somewhere. Sit up really tall. Breathe in, breathe out, and then starting with the neck and the head, we're going to turn to the left. Keep turning. Upper back, mid back, low back. Turn, turn, turn. Breathe in, breathe out. And slowly unwind. Coming all the way back. And uncross. Good. So again, we started with the neck only, that flexion, the side to side with the ears, the turning. We just took that whole movement that we were doing with the neck the very first time, and we brought it all the way down the spine, so we got all the way down to the hips. Your spine likes that kind of movement. It's something that, those are movements that your spine is designed for, so the muscles along your spine create that kind of intentional movement. Let's do this. Let's warm up the feet a little bit. We're going to come up to standing. So take your right leg, extend it out, and let's squeeze and extend the toes. So I'm doing this in my shoe, squeezing and extending toes. And then we're going to point and flex the foot a little bit. So again, we're just warming things up a little bit. Let's circle at the ankle. Keep breathing. Good. Great. If you want a little support, you can hold on to your chair here. I know this is good for me because it always reminds me that, you know, my posture isn't always the best if I'm not paying attention. And reverse direction, did I say that already? I don't think I did. Okay. And then we're going to bend and extend the knee. So just a few times here. If you need to rest in between bending and extending, you can always put your foot on the floor. We're just going to do a couple more. Again, this is just a warm-up. Great. And then we're just going to place that foot back on the floor next to the other one. Take your left leg, extend it out, heel on the floor, and toes. So this is what I'm doing in my shoe. So we're just flexing and extending the toes, getting a little bit of movement in there. Feet are so underappreciated. We do not think about our poor feet as much as we should. And boy, when they are hurting, the whole rest of our body knows it. And then we'll point and flex, so a little movement at the ankle. You might hear some noise in there. I didn't say that on the other side, but you might hear some snapping or noise. That's perfectly fine. And then circle around. Noise without pain is generally okay. If you have noise and pain, that might be something to have looked at. And then reverse direction. Keep breathing. Making sure you're sitting up nice and tall. We're going to bend and extend the knee. So again, just a few on this side. You might hear some snapping. Knees can be a little noisy too. How about one more? And then we'll bring that foot right down to the floor. Good. Bring your feet out nice and wide and have your heels back a little bit behind your knees. So we're going to be coming up to standing. And as always, instead of thinking about coming straight up, I'm going to ask you to think about coming forward, and then as you come forward, you're going to create that lift by using your legs. You're using your thigh muscles to lift your backside off the chair and then straighten up. So if you want to place your hands on your thighs, come forward, pull your belly in, so you're pulling your navel in toward your spine. Shift forward till your buttocks comes off the chair, and then you're going to slowly straighten. Excellent. All right, looks like everybody got up first time. So come around to the back of your chair. Make sure you're not tripping on anything. Yep. Okay. And once you're here, we're going to do a little bit of work for the hips. So we did some work for the toes and the ankles and the knees when we were seated, and now we're going to do some work for the hips. So shift your weight into your right leg, and you're going to take your left leg, take that foot off the floor, and make some circles. Now if your chair is in the way, you can kind of move your chair maybe a little off to the side. So make those circles nice and big. Let them get bigger and bigger. Breathe in and breathe out. Great, and then we're going to bring that foot right down to the floor. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So take your right foot and circle around. Start small and get bigger and bigger, and keep breathing. And if you're finding it challenging to breathe, maybe make those circles a little smaller. Okay, and now we're going to shift back to both legs. Have your chair kind of right there so you can hold on. We're going to do a little bit of work taking the weight into the right leg. We're going to Come out to the side with the left, bring that foot to the floor and shift to the other side. Right, so slow and steady. Now as you're lifting your leg, keep your toes pointing forward. The tendency is to do this. See how I turned my foot? Don't turn your foot. That's harder, right? We're actually working these muscles a little bit more. Keep breathing. Good. How about one more time on each side, you guys? Looks good. Great. Okay, now just kind of march in place a little bit. That gets these muscles to relax a little bit here. Good. Okay, and then with your feet a comfortable distance apart, maybe like 3 or 4 inches. Your toes are facing forward again, kind of the chair is here for support. We're going to come all the way up on the toes and then come all the way down slowly. Right? Come all the way up on the toes and come all the way down slowly. Bring a little more weight into your heels when you come down, right? So it's almost like you're rocking back a little bit. So you're going to do this just a couple more times using both feet equally. And then we're going to challenge the legs a little bit more. Okay, and last time we're going to come all the way up. Get as tall as you can on your toes. And then slowly come down. Great. Okay. Now, we're going to come up on the toes. Shift your weight into your right leg so you can bend your left knee a little bit. And then see if you can come down just using the right leg. It's a little bit harder. Good. Both heels on the floor. Come all the way up, breathing in, breathing out. Shift over to the left. Bend the right knee, right? You could even lift that right foot off the floor if you feel like you want to balance a little bit. And then slowly come down using the calf muscles on that left side. This is a little harder. Both feet on the floor. We're going to do this a couple more times. Breathe in, breathe out. Come all the way up using the strength in both legs. Then shifting over into the right. And then slowly come down. Both feet lift up. Shift over into that left side. And see how slowly you can come down. Great. I see a lot of feet coming off the floor. That's good. That's a real challenge there. It's not just a challenge for your strength, but for your balance as well, which is great. Come all the way up. Last time on each side, you guys. Last time. So see if we can do this. This is tough. Keep breathing. Good. Come all the way up, both feet. Left side. Nicely done. Okay, good. Let's kind of march that out a little bit. And shake out one leg and then the other. Okay, now let's practice with a little bit of balance, kind of steady balance here. So once again, bringing your feet a comfortable distance apart. Let's shift the weight into the left leg. Come up on the toes of your right foot. I'm going to move my chair just so everybody can see what I'm doing with this leg. So you're coming up on the right toes, and then you're going to turn this leg like you're trying to rotate that knee out and bring your heel in to the inside of that leg. A couple things you can do here. You can keep your toe on the floor and play around with your hands away from the chair, or you can try lifting that foot off the floor entirely. Breathing in, breathing out. That's a little more challenge for that ankle. And then maybe practice one hand off, maybe the other, or maybe for just a moment. Breathe. Focus your gaze on something. That's another thing that really helps with balance. Great. Nice. And then bring your hands to where they're comfortable. Let's shift the weight back down. Shake out that standing leg a little bit. And we'll do the same thing on this other side. So shifting the weight into the right foot. Come up on the toes of the left. Now make sure this leg is nice and strong. So the muscles here are strong. The muscles out here are strong, meaning we're not leaning to one side on that, right? So we're really activating those muscles. Turn the heel to the inside of the leg. So you're trying to pull your knee behind you. And then play with that a little bit. What does it feel like to take the foot off the floor entirely? Breathe. Focus your gaze on something. Now, I will say this. I personally find it harder to balance when I'm in a mask because the mask is in my peripheral vision a little bit, so it throws me off. So if you're having that issue here and you're in a mask, when you try this at home, notice if it's a little bit different for you. Great, and then slowly bring that foot back down. Let's shake things out a little bit. You doing okay? Yeah, all right, so we're getting a little bit of work for the lower body as well. So I'm going to turn sideways, and we're going to stretch things out a little bit here for the legs. So if you come right up to the back of your chair, so you're up nice and close, let's take the right foot. We're going to step the right foot way back, put the big toe on the floor, and then as you start to bring your heel down, we're going to keep that foot straight. So in other words, don't go out to the side like this. We're going to bring that right heel to the floor as we bend the left knee. And then come all the way up, straighten the left knee, and come up on the toe, and come down. Now, as you're doing this, see if you can get your heel to the floor. I don't know if you can see, but I can't get my heel to the floor on this side yet. So what I'm going to do the next time I come up, I'm going to slide this foot forward just a little bit. So now when I bend that knee, now I got my heel on the floor. So we're going to do this just 1 or 2 more times. I want to make sure you can get your heel on the floor. And this time, as you're here, you're going to hold in this position. Press that back heel into the floor. You're trying to push the heel into the floor. Keep this knee straight. So if there's a little bend in the knee, straighten that knee a little bit. If you're leaning forward, like I am, slide your chair back a little bit so that you're kind of standing up nice and tall. Keep pressing your heel into the floor. The muscles here in this front leg should be really strong around the bone. You should feel those muscles nice and strong. Let's take 3 breaths here, just 3. Breathing in and breathing out. That's breath number 2, breathing in and breathing out. And breath number 3, breathing in and breathing out. Great. And then you're going to come up on the toes of the back foot, straighten that front knee, and then step your feet together. Take a moment here, if you could just kind of stand and notice if your right leg feels a little longer than your left leg. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So once again, standing up nice and close to your chair, you're going to take your left foot, step it behind, come up on the big toe. And remember, we keep the foot straight. So we're going to bend the front knee as we bring that left heel down toward the floor and come up. So we test this a few times, right? So as you come up, straighten the front knee. Now once again, I bit off more than I could chew up here, right? Because you can see my heel is not making it to the floor. So I'm going to kick my foot forward just a little bit. And now I can get my heel down to the floor. That's a better place for me to be, right? Better to take a smaller step back and be able to get your heel on the floor. And the next time that you're there, you're going to hold and breathe. So once again, the muscles here in this front leg are really strong around the bone. So it's like they're hugging the bone as tight as they can. Your heel of your left foot pressing into the floor as hard as you can. That knee is nice and straight. You'll feel these muscles here. Again, quadriceps muscles, nice and strong. If you're leaning forward a little bit because you stepped back a ways, slide your chair back so you're standing up nice and tall. That deepens the stretch in through here, through your hip. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's do 3 on this side. So here we are on breath 2. And 1 more breath in and out for 3. Beautiful. And then slowly come up on the toes of the back foot, straighten the front leg, and step the feet together once again. And just stand for a moment and notice. Notice the right side and the left side. Good. Okay. Now, step back from your chair. Keep your arms extended. Keep walking back and lift your buttocks up. Pull your belly in Keep your heels on the floor, and now you're going to drop your ears down toward your elbows as you lift your tailbone up behind you. Arms are nice and straight, so we're getting a nice stretch through the arms. And then slowly come up and walk forward. So we're going to do this a couple of times. I'm going to turn sideways if anybody needs to see a little more. So we'll keep the hands here. We're just going to walk back till the arms are straight and extended. And then start to hinge from the hips. Lift your tailbone up. Bring your ears down as close to your elbows as you can. Now you might not get that far down, and that's okay. Keep breathing. And then slowly come up and walk forward. All right? And one more time, just walking back. That's all this is. Walking back. Lift your tailbone. So pull your belly in, lift your tailbone. Bring your shoulder blades together. And then slowly come up. Good. Excellent. Okay. Now that we've done that, we're going to walk around to the front of the chair. Standing with the backs of your knees right up close to the chair. Maybe you can feel them there. Make sure you know where your chair is. We're going to do a little bit of squatting, and then we're going to sit finally. So take a nice deep breath in and lengthen through your spine. And as you breathe out, see if you can squat down. You can have your hands on your thighs if you want a little support. If you want to try without support, bring your hands together. And then we're going to slowly come up, straightening the knees. And when you straighten your knees, engage those muscles, make them really strong. And then relax as we come down. Beautiful. Keep breathing. We're going to do this 3 more times. So the slower you go, the stronger your muscles need to be. And the stronger they'll get. So that's 3 and 2. Nice. And now we're coming into 1. As we come into this last one, get down as low as you're comfortable and stay here. And breathe. Good. Now make sure you know exactly where your chair is and slowly sit down without plopping. Ooh, great. Give your thighs a little bit of a massage. Those muscles were just doing a whole lot of work. And then sit comfortably. So if you want to sit and use the back of your chair, you can do that. If you want to stay seated forward on your chair, you can do that. Let your hands rest in your lap and close your eyes. Breathing in and breathing out. Notice. Going all the way back to the very first movements that we did in the neck. Remember all those neck stretches we did. See if you can check in with your neck once again. What does your neck feel like right now? And how about your shoulders? The tops of the shoulders, the outsides, the front, the back, the right side versus the left side. And then remember how we took all those movements that we did for the neck to relax the neck, and how we brought that down into the spine. So we did that forward bending where we brought the forehead down toward the floor, and then we went to the left and to the right trying to get the shoulders closer to the hips. And then we did those twists. So notice once again, what does your whole spine feel like? And then the arms, we did those circling movements with the arms. Nice big movements. And then we did kind of opposite movement with left and right, and that got the brain involved a little bit, trying to figure out how to make those movements in opposite directions simultaneously. That's challenging. And then we came to standing and did some work with the calves. We did some work with the hips, the backs of the legs. We did some balance work. And we did some squats. And notice how all of those movements that we just finished, how all of those movements have landed in your body this morning. Notice if anything feels different. You might be more aware of certain parts of your body than you were when you first came in. And notice your breath. Notice if your breathing has changed. And it might have changed just in your awareness of it. You might just be more aware of how you're breathing. And do you find it easier to breathe in and out through your nose after doing those movements, those exercises? Or do you find it more difficult? Notice how you can control your breathing a little bit more. Breathing slower. Breathing faster. Breathing deeper or breathing more shallowly. And breathe down into your belly now, so that as you inhale, your belly expands, and as you exhale, your belly gently contracts. And feel how this movement has been part of the natural rhythm of your body since the day you were born. Take your right hand and place it near your heart, and then cover your right hand with your left. And see if you can breathe in and out to the place underneath your hands. So feel your chest rise and fall underneath your hands. And after your next big breath in, let that out with a sigh. And then if you'd like, maybe bring your hands together and take a moment in gratitude to yourself for your wisdom, your light, compassion, and eternal beauty. And if you'd like, you can open your eyes, and for those here, maybe just acknowledging the people around the room who are here. For those at home, I acknowledge you. Thank you for being here. And enjoy the rest of this day. I think the sun is going to pop out here in a little while, so hopefully it turns out like yesterday, how glorious yesterday turned out. So enjoy, and I hope to see you all next week.
Thank you, Robin. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys. This is the last time I'll see you Zoom, folks, so I'm going to miss seeing you all, but hopefully you'll be there. I just won't be able to interact with you, so I'm going to miss that part of this. But I hope you'll join us next time.
Okay, thank you, Robin.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Well, everyone.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Bye.